a warning?
There's nothing to worry about.
I'm worried that you work in an office, have children, celebrate wedding anniversaries. The world of heterosexual is a sick and boring life.
¿Vas a hacer, mamá?
Vete a cambiarte que vas a coger una pulmonía. Paula, recuerda que fui yo quien lo mató y que tú no lo viste porque estabas en la calle. Es muy importante que recuerdes eso.
Welcome back to the show, listeners.
Welcome back. Thank you for returning.
Yes.
To the podcast, shall we say.
I feel like I'm returning to the podcast. I haven't recorded one of these in a while. I don't know what I'm
We banked a lot. We banked a lot. Now we're back to recording.
We did.
So.
But listeners, you're in for a treat. This movie was really... Gosh, I don't even have words. We're going to have to get into it because I do have a lot of words about this. But before we get all that started, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott.
And these are the movies
that made us gay.
Yes, indeed.
Returning to the podcast after her fan favorite appearance on our Y Tu Mama Tambien episode, our very good friend Sandra.
Sandra.
Thank you
Welcome
for coming
back to the
over.
Show.
I'm back, bitches.
Yes.
You're back, bitches. And you are talking about Almodóvar.
Yes.
You know, this is we are a LGBT podcast, and we have now only done 2 Almodóvar movies
He
on the
has
show.
like 30. Come
I
on,
know.
let's
Yeah.
get on it.
We need to do like
Get
an
our shit
Almodóvar
together.
month. I was thinking about that as we were watching the movie.
I can stay over and we could just watch them all.
We could just thank
And
them all.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
I got
Let's
a
do it.
babysitter. We could get a little more wine.
Don't you have a couple of assets at home? that you need to...
No, I give them
fine.
away.
Okay.
We're good. I can stay.
All right. Well, Sandra, I thank you so much for coming over. Thank you for bringing all the food that you brought.
I did, like a good Mexican.
Yes, indeed.
I showed up with trays of al pastor,
Yes.
pollo,
It looks so good.
arroz
I
rojo, y tortilla chips.
Yes. But no actual tortillas, so I got to go to the store for that. Womp womp.
We have a white man here. I
know.
wanted to fit in.
I'll go to the store.
I wanted to
We
fit
can
in.
put it on white bread.
Oh, there
and
you
we'll
go. You can make nachos out of it.
Ooh, I like that.
There you
I can
go.
make nachos. I do have cheese.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Well, I mean, yeah, who better to talk about this movie from Spain?
Than a Mexican.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's been to Spain a couple times.
We do want to talk to you about your opinions on Madrid versus Barcelona.
Barcelona. Oh, I
Yeah.
have a lot of opinions.
Oh, good. Okay.
A lot of
Because this
opinions.
movie takes place partially in Madrid.
In Madrid.
But,
Mhm.
Scott, let's get the paperwork out of the way. What do we got going here?
We got to our Volver episode, written and directed by Pedro Almodóvar. Volver premiered at the 2006 Cannes Film Festival, where it competed for the Palme d'Or, and it received critical acclaim at the festival and won 2 awards at the festival, including Best Actress, shared by the 6 main actresses, and it also got Best Screenplay. It premiered in Spain March 17th, 2006, and went on to its United States release November 3rd after a big festival run at, all the major festivals, I think.
Okay, wait a minute. You're telling me at the Cannes Film Festival, all the female leads in this movie got Best Actress?
I think it was sort of like an ensemble prize.
That's interesting.
Which I remember at the time when there was award buzz for this movie, that there was a lot of film critics that were kind of making the case of you could kind of put the entire cast in for Best Actress.
For lead.
I actually never heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But yeah, I just kind of remember reading that a lot. I mean, it kind of makes the case to have like some sort of a casting or ensemble award at the Oscars too, because get out of here with this cast. All of these women, they're so good.
Yeah. Scott mentioned at some point in this movie, like, I feel like we've seen like 2 men speak the entire time.
Right.
The entire time.
You get the husband, and then you get the guy who knocks on Penelope's door that it's his restaurant that he's handing off the keys.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that,
Well, the guy
I
from
think it's
the
it.
movies.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
crew
The
guy.
director.
And- yeah, the
whoever,
crew.
the crew.
The crew that are helping out in the
Who is
restaurant.
like this really cute guy, and
I
he's
can't-
like a younger guy, and you think something's gonna happen. No, nothing.
No, it's not about men.
No,
it's all
yeah.
about women
Yeah.
and our pain and suffering.
No, absolutely.
That's it.
But it's interesting because, like, you like I didn't think about that. Like you just said, it's not about that. That's
Yeah.
not what the story is. We don't want to see Raimunda like find this guy at
you don't
this
want
restaurant.
you don't want like a Stellar got her groove back story for Penelope in this
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
And I mean, he comes onto her when he's
Right.
like, when she's cooking, and he's
Right.
like, everything was so good, and he's kind
Yeah.
of flirtatious, and she's like, let me work.
Yeah.
With this big knife in her hand,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
thanks,
I got
but
shit to
I'm
do.
working exactly.
I have,
so,
And something in the freezer.
I have a lot of shit going on right now.
yeah,
have
and
to-
she does.
Maybe
time
we
for
can
this.
circle back to this later.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
just kind of. I wanted to do another Almodóvar movie on the podcast to follow up our Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. And I mean, you could have really picked anything. And I think
Any
that
of the
of the
Almodóvar.
movies. I
I
mean,
picked-
he's so
right, yeah.
women centric, I
Right.
guess. Like
Yeah.
he's always honoring women and always making stories about women and mothers and daughters and relationships, and
I was
between
going to say,
women.
we're a
that-
couple weeks late for our Mother's Day episode, so consider this the Mother's Day episode of the podcast.
Right.
Such
But
a happy movie.
yeah, we
Oh,
landed.
absolutely.
We landed on Volver because I think it's just a really great showcase for Penelope Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I mentioned on I think our Easy A episode of that I really love actresses that are. You see them level up in their career.
Yeah.
And I remember this being a huge moment for Penelope because just kind of following her career in America that they had really been trying to make her happen since the year 2000.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was kind of hit or miss. I remember that there was kind of an overexposure problem with her of I think there was kind of a very enough already. You're dating Tom Cruise and
Well,
you're
yeah.
in Vanilla Sky. And it kind of took her circling back to Pedro.
So even that movie, though, it was a movie that she made in
Right.
Yes.
Spanish,
Right.
Abre los ojos, and then they brought her and they made it with Tom Cruise, and
Yeah.
and it was awful. And they really
yeah.
were trying to push her as the next like starlet in Hollywood, but
Just kind of-
and it's so
this is her bread and
interesting
butter.
because Abre los Ojos is so good, and then you go and you see Vanilla Sky, which is a very faithful remake, but at the same time not.
But it's but
I
it's,
have kind of a soft spot for what a
You
fucking
do.
mess that movie is. I'm kind of like a light defender of it, but I will
Sure.
fully acknowledge it is not great.
Right.
no. I mean, you just can't remake it. It's not even. It was a few years after the original
Right,
came out that
yeah.
they made it, and
And
what
it's-
was the reason? To
It's
make
such.
it?
What
It
was the reason?
It was so unnecessary.
And it's such a stylized, specific movie to a director, to a screenwriter, and then to just remake it all just seems so like, yeah, why?
with the same actress.
Yeah.
It makes no
You're
sense.
bringing nothing to the table,
Exactly.
for something that was so innovative the first time.
Yeah.
It just feels like, oh, I want to do that too. Like, I don't know.
We need to do those two at the same time next time.
Yeah.
I will come for that.
Okay, we'll get on 2 TVs side by side.
But yeah, I think that it just really took Penelope kind of going back to Pedro to
Right.
have her really level up in her career.
Yeah.
She got a Best Actress nomination. I think the first time that a Spanish actress had ever been in Best Actress, or
Right.
maybe even an acting category, like, period. And the 2006 Best Actress category, one of my favorites, too.
Who
I can
was
talk
it?
about that
Okay.
later. Okay, so we'll just get out of the way
Give
now.
us a roundup
So
of who's in it,
was,
and then we'll talk
it was
about more.
Penelope Cruz for Volver. The winner was Helen Mirren for The Queen.
Okay.
Oh.
Judi Dench in my favorite Notes on a Scandal. See our Notes on a Scandal episode.
Oh, wait. We did a whole episode on Notes on a Scandal.
Yeah, with Paul from That Age 12.
And I already forgot that Judi Dench was nominated for lead.
Yeah, lead.
Wow.
They put Kate in supporting.
Ah, I love that.
And
Okay,
then-
who else?
Is that with the nuns?
No, it's a weird.
I've seen
It's
that.
kind of like what
It's like
predatory lesbian.
It's like a Mary Kay Letourneau story.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then did I say Kate Winslet for Little Children?
Not quite, or maybe. Yeah.
Kate Winslet for Little
Okay,
Children,
okay.
and
We love that
Meryl
movie.
and Meryl for The Devil Wears Prada. We have now covered 3 movies in that category.
All right. Okay, that is a good year.
Yeah,
I
one of my
love it.
favorites, and I feel like
And
it was Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren.
And I
for
feel
the
like
Queen.
ask me any day of the week, and I think that my winner goes to a different actress every day.
Every time. I like
Every
it.
time. Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. I love when the Academy kind of broadens their horizons, and why couldn't this
Sure. I mean,
performance win?
it didn't make it in. It didn't make it in foreign feature though.
It didn't.
It made the short list. It did not. It did not.
It didn't
make the
even get a
category.
nomination.
Yep.
Okay. The listeners, just so you're fully aware, the movie is on mute in our as we're recording this. So there are a couple of things that we're going to be like, oh, and look at that, and look at that.
We'll try not to have this become a watch with us commentary.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's the best though, because it's happening as we're talking about it, and reminds him of all the little nuances that
Right.
it's not easy to remember.
Right.
And Almodóvar is so good at that, like with color,
my
with
gosh.
like the red in this movie.
The credits.
Yeah.
Underrated credits that I feel like I never hear talked about as being just great.
Yeah.
Great credits. Like
Yeah.
when the Volver kind of like appears on the screen in all of that red. And it's very graphic because all of the women are cleaning all of the tombstones. Like they're cleaning. It's like cleaning day at the cemetery, and you see all of them cleaning up all of these tombstones, and then you see the titles of the movie.
Yeah, and I just caught right now that the parents who in this movie died,
Right.
Penelope Cruz, their pictures are there,
Right.
and the mother is wearing red.
Oh, and the image on the
In the
gravestone?
image on the gravestone,
Oh,
she's
that's
wearing
interesting.
red. So
Okay.
every time he puts someone in red, some shit's gonna happen.
Yes.
Like some shit, it's
Yeah.
going
Yeah,
to
and that's something
happen.
and that's something that you see in All About My Mother and Bad Education too.
And
Just
also
kind of the
in
color red.
the newest one,
Parallel Mothers.
in that one too, there's so much like red and
Yes.
the aqua and the green. And see, like here, like you start seeing the red, and you know that something's gonna happen.
Yeah. So, okay, do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
I don't. I know that I saw it at the movie theater because Almodóvar, I always try to go
Right.
see his movies in the movie theater.
Okay.
And I definitely wasn't a mother when I
Right.
saw it. And now that I just revisited it 2 weeks ago and seeing it with different eyes,
Yeah.
with like the mother of a daughter,
Right.
and seeing it with those eyes, and it's just, it just hits different.
Absolutely.
Just kind of that motherly instinct of covering up what happened, and there's
Without
no
hesitation.
questions
Yeah.
or hesitation too.
Yeah.
I
No,
love that.
it's like, okay, anyone asks, I killed
did it.
him.
Yep.
I did
Yeah.
it. And like, you go in your room and I will clean this up.
Yeah.
And don't, like, I got you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what a mother does,
Yeah.
like no question.
Yeah.
And and something that I think most of us would do.
Right.
Doesn't,
Yeah.
whoever like comes for your kid. you
Yeah.
know, like
But there's also the idea that okay, I had not seen this movie prior to this
I
recording.
can't believe you had never seen it. I'd never shown this to you.
No. And so I got to experience the kind of mystery of what happened
Yeah.
and the big
I
shock.
kind of by accident gave you a spoiler
At
in
the
the movie
end.
because I assumed
I
that
don't
you had
think
seen
you
it.
did. Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
as per
I didn't listen
usual.
to half the things you say. So, but Penelope Cruz's character, Raimunda, I kind of was like, I don't understand her. I understand her mothering instincts, and
Right.
when it came to what happens to the daughter, and we'll go into the plot in a moment. But I understood that part. But then we get these conversations about her relationship with her mother, and the mother saying like, you hated me, and like all this, and I'm just like, why did she hate her mother? And then you find out why, but leading up to it, they don't tell you, and you're just like, why does she? She's a very kind of almost like an abrasive kind of person. She has a
Right.
foul mouth, and not that these are bad things.
And she
We
comes
have-
off rude, like
Yes.
with her sister, that
Yes.
she's like very bossy,
Yes.
always in a rush, and always just like has like 15 jobs, and she's always off to another job, and just like going,
And we know
you
those people. That's a real person.
That's I mean, that's a brown woman
Yes.
to you,
Yeah.
and it could be Spain all you want,
right.
but at the end of the day, it's still
Yes.
a brown woman.
Absolutely.
And, I think that here what he really emphasizes is that the love and the sacrifice that a mother
Yes.
does.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
for just to like survive. And even though there are men in the picture, they're not very good men.
Right.
No.
None of the men in this
Yes.
are kind of good men.
Yeah.
So, you know,
See, here
like,
she's like in a
doing
laundry. She's like
she was just in a restaurant.
kitchen. Yeah. What the hell?
You know, and there's something about how Penelope Cruz photographs of
These
that
shots
when you
here
see
in the
her
laundry.
dressed down. Of
Okay.
When she's just
Okay.
kind of this shot is wild. Of like the framing of the shot, like
Yeah.
what is
Whatever
that
this machine
whatever
is.
that
We
machine
don't
of
even
her
But
in
you see
front
the
of
red.
it.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like it's an airport. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you see like the cut to red. But what I was saying is that there's something so beautiful about Penelope when they dress her down. That I think that she's even more beautiful when she's just an average mother from Madrid.
You know, she was padded everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's the other thing.
So
They don't
I
go.
want
They
it.
don't go too overboard
So
with it.
I read this that
Yeah.
she's padded in this movie, and they make comments about her boobs being really big.
Her butt too is
and
like
her
padded.
But it's not that big.
No, it's not. It's not. But like
Yeah.
he really wanted to make her like a vixen, like this
Right.
very sexy woman. But you see like the transition, like the now the girl's wearing the red.
Right.
And now Penelope is also wearing the red. So you know, he's kind of like foreshadowing that something's about to happen.
Yeah. But it's interesting that this character, for being, you know, she's a mother, but she's also very young. Penelope was 32 when she made this movie. And this character, I mean, maybe the character is not 32, but Penelope Cruz, the actress, was. And, you know, this daughter is in her teens,
in her
maybe?
teens, yeah.
14, 15,
Let me
early
see.
teens, could be 13 maybe. She looks pretty young, but it's ambiguous, the ages. But, you know, she's still like, she wears these big hoop earrings. She wears these tight skirts, you know, these low cut tops. She's a woman, you know, she's a young woman. So she
very feminine,
She dresses how
very
she wants to dress.
beautiful,
And her
yeah.
hair is always done up and all of that. But it's interesting.
You guys
kind
always
of,
talk about your cha-cha moms.
But I,
I
don't
mean-
think that that's
a cha-cha mom for
her
sure.
intention,
No,
though.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
I think this is like a natural sort of being of this character. I think it's in the, like when you're a woman, you're a sexy woman, you're attractive,
Yeah,
like
right.
you don't try. You just kind of are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And I think that's kind of like her, like almost like she doesn't know how beautiful and sexy she is.
Yeah, because I wanted to mention, Scott was talking about dressing her down, and I'm thinking, like, when you see somebody as beautiful as Penelope Cruz in, like, a service job or in something that we would consider
It can sometimes take you out of it.
blue collar, right? We're like, oh, I don't believe that somebody that beautiful can, like, work in a laundry or, like, work in a restaurant or whatever. But there's something about the way Almodóvar kind of populates his movies. He kind of dresses everybody very realistically. Like, nobody's like,
Very, like everyday.
yeah, it's very like, okay, all the women that she interacts with in her neighborhood,
They're
just-
wearing those like really like printed like prayer
Yeah.
dresses or like this like muumuus that they wear
Yeah.
because it's like really really hot.
I love the
yes.
casual shade that she gives all of her friends.
But
too.
I feel like that is that kind of Spanish culture,
It is.
Latin culture in general.
Yes, the first thing they
just
tell
kinda
you
tell like it
when you
is.
come visit is, look at you, how old you
Look at how fat you
look.
are.
Wow, you've aged.
Yes,
And they're like, and you've gained a lot of weight, you know, and that's what she does here.
the
It's
gray
kinda
hair.
like,
I see gray hair. I
Yeah.
see this and that. You
and
know,
and that's that's how we interact with each other, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like like little digs at each
Yeah.
other, but but they still love and support.
Right, yeah,
you
right.
know,
yeah, because the when she does say those things, and it's not just her. I feel like everybody kind of is like that. But when she does say those things to, the women that are helping her, these ladies are helping her move a body. They don't know it, but they are. And she's telling them shit like, "Oh well, you could use the exercise."
it's like, don't eat all the cookies.
Yeah,
Keep one box because
Yeah.
you don't need any more.
you don't need any
cookies.
more than that.
And sell me the other one.
Just have one or two,
Yeah.
and I'll take the rest off your hands. And they're just like, you know what? You're right.
But that is that is how I think things. It's definitely changing. I
Yeah,
feel like
yeah.
as women, we're learning to do that a little bit less
yeah.
and celebrate each other more and not be so focused on like body and age and all those things. But this is 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what? Almost 20 years
I love the
ago.
moment
So
that
we
it
weren't
took Pete for
progressive
watching
yet.
this movie that it's just like, when you kind of start this movie and you go in, you don't really know what year it is.
I was like, is it the 80s?
Is it the 80s? I don't know.
90s?
And then you're like, oh no, they're just country.
oh, she got a cell phone. Oh, they're just poor. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and then they're in the village. Even
Yeah.
this village is beautiful.
Oh
which
my gosh,
is
the houses that they're
all the tile and the flowers
and the courtyards and your
ants-
inside
the
and your
ant's
outside.
blue tile on her stairway. I love the character of the ant with the big glasses.
Yeah, it's and again, like this small town full of women who
Yeah.
are attending to their graves and
Yeah.
cleaning them because they're gonna die.
Cleaning
at some
her
point,
own grave.
and you clean your own grave.
Cleaning her own grave,
But
she bought.
that's where the similarity comes
Yeah.
to Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
Sure, I
that
was going to
we-
say that's
how
it's
we
also very
celebrate.
LA culture of just Mother's Day. There is a line down the freeway to the cemetery.
Yeah, that's when they go see.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also like
I find that so bizarre, but yeah.
but also like
Let's go see
sometimes you'll pull up to an LA cemetery and it's a full out party. Like lawn
Yeah,
chairs,
mariachi,
just hanging out.
Bring lunch.
Yeah.
But as you can tell from tonight, we bring food everywhere.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be at a place for more than an hour, we'll bring in a sandwich
Yeah.
because hunger is not something we're gonna suffer
Yes.
through.
No, absolutely.
You know, so
But I love those opening
Sure.
scenes with them at the cemetery. I think that
Yeah.
they're so beautiful.
Well, and it's Pedro's childhood pueblo. That's where he,
Ah,
he
okay.
went back to his
Sure.
pueblo to
Okay,
film
so
that part.
when they go and visit the aunt, they're going to La Mancha,
Tia Paula.
Mm-hmm.
right? And then Penelope lives in
Madrid.
Madrid,
Yeah.
So it is like La Mancha, like historical La Mancha, and there's like, I know like from like Don Quixote.
There's actually damn windmills.
but there was like real windmills.
exists.
There's actually real
But there's
windmills in La
windy.
Mancha.
new windmills there. So I was like, oh, so that must be a thing.
Very windy.
I wonder if it's like like is it plains or something? Is it just like big open area? So then all the wind comes in or
It
something.
kind of reminded
Who
me a little
knows?
bit of the desert here.
Yeah,
like when you go into
yeah.
like Palm
To Palm
Springs,
You're driving
it's
to
the
Palm
same, like
Springs,
all those
So
windmills.
interesting. Okay, very cool. But yeah, well, like Tia Paula.
I want to take a moment here,
Sure.
and he's the guy is like, hey, you can have my restaurant,
Yeah.
like you could
What?
watch it for a while because I'm going to leave. Something happened,
Yeah.
and she has blood on her neck.
Yeah.
Sure.
And the minute he's like, oh, what's that on your neck? And she's like,
my
oh,
God.
women's troubles. Then,
Yeah.
Then he stops
And he goes,
asking.
okay.
That time of the month.
All right.
No more questions asked.
No.
Yep.
Good enough for me.
And that's, and there's a joke in
On your
in
neck?
women that they're like, if you want to hide something,
Yeah.
hide it in your like tampon box
Yeah.
because he's not
Sure.
going to go look in there. It's
Yeah.
such like a taboo. Like whenever it's like a woman's thing, like
Right.
a man will not ask you any more questions.
And how Penelope
That's
plays
exactly-
that scene right there in that interaction, you can kind of see the wheels turning in her head.
Mm-hmm.
That as soon as she gets the keys to the restaurant, she knows what she's going to do.
Yeah.
too.
Well, at this point, she's. Do we say what's going on? Like her.
Well, yeah, I feel like at this point we need to break down exactly kind of like some plot.
The plot a little bit,
because we're getting kind of going a little back and forth. But I think we did a good job of kind of talking about Almodóvar and where we are and kind of laying a little groundwork. But as far as synopsis wise, Penelope Cruz plays Raimunda. She is a mother to her daughter Paula.
Yep.
Yes. Okay, because she's named after Tia Paula. Okay, so her daughter is Paula. Her sister Soledad. They're at the very beginning of the movie. They are out in their kind of their family's
village,
hometown.
They're going to check up on the aunt.
Yes. Well, they're cleaning
They
off their
clean the-
parents' grave.
Yeah.
And their parents died 4 years ago. I think they said.
I don't remember,
It's
but yeah.
fairly
I think
recently.
I think they mentioned about 4 years.
Yeah. Because how long can this mom? All right. So about 4 years ago, the mother and the father died, and they died in a fire, and they're there cleaning the grave, and they have their aunt, their Tia Paula, who's out there, and she's got the big old glasses. Her eyes
She's
are all
pretty gone,
gigantic.
pretty senile. She
Yeah.
doesn't know
Yeah.
what's happening in
Right.
her life. Who's
she
coming?
can't
Who's
even
going.
go up and down the
Yeah.
stairs, but at the same time, she has like food for them.
She has a woman that comes and looks after her.
Well, no, she doesn't. She says it's your mom.
But the neighbor.
Oh, the neighbor.
I'm talking about the neighbor.
Agustina.
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 Yep.
Agustina.
She kind of
Agustina.
checks on her to make
Right.
sure that
Yeah.
she's breathing, basically. She's not doing really anything for her
Right,
inside of the
right.
house, just making sure that this old woman who's on her own,
Yeah.
as a lot of the like men from this village are gone. There's
Right.
just mostly like women.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting too, the way they kind of talk about the village. And it's very like ethereal. Like they're very just like these winds coming through, and they talk
That
about
make you
like
crazy,
the wind
apparently.
makes you crazy, and they're just like, yeah, the wind makes you crazy. Yeah, that's a thing. That's true.
Maybe because it's all women. That was calling us crazy. They're like,
Yeah.
it's all women here. They're all crazy.
Yeah.
It's because the wind.
Yeah. So, so they're the women in this family, and but they live in Madrid, so they live in the city. And Raimunda has multiple jobs, like we're saying. She's they're working class, They live in an apartment in the city.
Her deadbeat husband was just fired, Paco.
Paco was just fired. He'd rather watch
I feel like
football.
they don't give. Well, I mean, which is not about Paco. Obviously, it's not about the man, and he's like he's not the plot. He's
Right.
just like a vehicle for the entire.
Yes.
But I feel like later on when they talk about him, they're not sort of mad at him. I feel like we got a little snippet of him that perhaps wasn't his best,
Right.
But I don't think that it encompasses a whole person of who he was.
Complicated relationship.
Yeah, very complicated. I was like, and he's not the focus of the story. But yeah, we weren't given much
Right.
on Paco,
Right.
except that like he was just drinking beer and watching the game and wanted to like have sex with her, and she didn't want to.
Right. But also there is a moment where Paula, the daughter, is sitting down on the
sits
couch,
down.
and he's just like
Yeah.
looking at her, and you're like,
lurking.
oh my god.
Yeah.
And
What
you
is
don't,
going
and you as
on?
the audience member don't
You
really
don't know.
know what has happened between these two
All we know is
characters,
that
too.
that's her
That's
husband.
her dad.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the dad.
That's dad, yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're led to believe that when he does attack her in the kitchen, this is the first time that he's acted on it, right?
Yeah. So on a night that Raimunda is coming home from work on the bus, her daughter, Paula, is standing at the bus stop waiting for her. She's wet. She's soaking wet. And she's just by herself standing there. She's like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? Like, we got to go home. Like, come on. Like,
let's
shit's
go,
happening,
let's
you
go.
know?
And the daughter's just like in
Yeah,
shock,
and
not
yeah.
talking. Yeah.
And so we find out that Paco has tried to kind of push himself on her. She brings out a knife to kind of scare him away, but he doesn't believe that she's going to do anything. So he lunges at her, and she,
She defends herself and she
defends
stabs
herself.
him.
Yeah. And so we go home, and we find his body on the floor, dead, with a knife sticking out of him. And like we said earlier,
She's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Like, no more questions. Like, she doesn't even go deep in it. She's like,
No.
all right, well, this is what we're going to do next,
Yeah.
Which,
And
She
kind
just
of,
says, like-
and kind of when she hears the story, the look on her face is, yeah, that's about right. That sounds like something that he would do.
yeah.
Too.
Well, as a mother, you don't.
Yeah.
I mean,
she doesn't question it.
later, I feel like later on it comes full circle of
Right.
why, but she does not question, which it's now I'm like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
Like, she does not question her daughter at all. She's
Right.
like, yeah, this is what happened. I got you.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
going to take care of
There's
this.
something about Almodóvar as a filmmaker that I remember when I first watched, I think, Bad Education. That was the first Almodóvar movie that I could really get my hands on when I was probably a freshman in college. I mean, it was kind of the first one that was readily available on DVD, and I hadn't seen All About My Mother yet. But I remember really seeing the Hitchcock influences of that movie in particular, Bad Education, and you see it with the way that she is cleaning up the body
Yeah.
Yeah.
in this movie, that it definitely recalls something like Psycho.
Or when he's like, when
Yep.
she's on the sink, like cleaning the.
And you see like the paper
knife.
towel
Yeah.
soaking up the blood. I love those images. But
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of you get these cool noir and Hitchcock elements of his directing. And
Yeah.
I've always really loved that about him as a director.
Yeah, and here she's trying to hide the body in the restaurant. She's like, "Help me put this on here."
Yeah.
and
But earlier when she tells Paula, she just kind of tells her like, I'll take care of this, go to your room, go, you're all wet, go dry off, you're going to get sick, go deal with yourself. Don't forget, I did this.
I did it.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
Don't forget. Don't get it twisted. Like,
Yeah.
I did this.
No.
And this is what's going to happen.
Did you guys know that this plot point originates from one of Almodóvar's earlier movies called The Flower
Of My Secret?
I think that this plot point comes from an earlier film of his called The Flower of My Secret.
I feel like all of like his films, if you could sit here and have like a marathon, and they kind of all sort of relate to each other.
Yeah.
And he,
I can
there's
see
a
that.
theme.
and he borrows back ideas from one of his previous movies.
It's kind of like when you put you see a designer on the runway and you just know that's Prada, you know that's John Galliano, because you just the feel, the colors, the shots, like you just know it's you know,
referencing themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here she's asking help from one of her friends. And that's the one that she's like, don't eat all the cookies, you know, like sell me, you know, the pound of pork leg so I can make. So she takes this job from a film crew to make them food for the night, and she's going to borrow the restaurant, and she doesn't have a penny to her name, so she starts asking all the women in the neighborhood that she runs into, like, hey, what did you went to your pueblo? What did you bring? Like, oh, you brought cookies. Can I get some of cookies? Can I have that pork leg?
I'll pay you tomorrow. I'll have the money then.
I have not right now. And the women, like, no questions
They'll
asked,
always help her.
You know, they're just like, because like this is Spain, and again, I'm from Mexico, but that is what happens in those small towns. You know,
kind of
you
that
do
saying,
help
it
each
takes a
other.
village.
It takes a village, and like, you know, visitors showed up, you didn't know they were coming, and then you go to the neighbor, and you're like, hey, so what do you have to make? What do you have in the freezer? And they'll give it to you, and they know, like, next day you'll come and you'll pay them, you'll return it, or next week, you know, payday. And that is exactly what happens, you know, in places like that, where you just like sort of help each other up. And then she hires the women to help her in the restaurant. Well, also, they all help each other.
The next day when she does get paid, she tells the one woman with the cookies, like, I know you gave me 3 boxes. I'm going to pay you for 4.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. Just kind of like, it's not just credit, it's like good credit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I love that he does that in his films for women, you know, that he shows the support that, you know, even back then, 20 years ago, you know, like we still do support each other. We help each other, you know, especially when there's no men around. And, or the men that are around are victimizing you.
Yes.
You know, so the women, they just know you have to have each other's back.
So I want to talk a little bit about the side characters, her sister Sole, and then the neighbor Agustina.
Yes,
I love both of them. Oh my god, Agustina is so amazing because, like, at the beginning of the movie, they don't kind of tell you right off that she's sick, but she has short hair.
She's smoking pot.
She's
in this
smoking
little
pot.
village.
She's growing the pot.
Yeah,
because I mean, that's the thing. If you live in this village in Spain and you need the weed because of your illness,
you're not going
just
to
grow it.
Where's the link?
Where's the plug?
Where's the plug?
Just start growing it, right? And so the Agustina is just very much like, oh, you know, I help your tia, like, you know. But
does she say that they've seen her mom?
Yes,
at the house?
right off the bat,
and also like neighbors have seen her.
Yeah, but I have to tell you that happened.
Sure, I was gonna say that seems very like Mexican culture too. Of that, I was just seeing grandma like yesterday.
We do not doubt at all when someone says, hey, so your tío so and so showed up to me and he said this, and you're like, what else did he say? What was he wearing?
What was he wearing?
What was he wearing? Because we remember what they were wearing. And, you know, what does he want for his altar when he comes back in Day of the Day? Like, we don't doubt it. We live with death so...
And we look for the details because that's what makes you believe it. When they say, like, oh, and he was wearing a suit. And you're like, of course he was wearing a suit.
Of course he was wearing that shirt. He knows it doesn't look good on him. He's fat.
And so when Agustina's like, oh, and the women have seen
your mom,
your mother, like, I saw her, and they're not like, what? They're not like, oh my god, can you believe she said that? They're just like,
and what else? No, because that is, you know, that is. I remember, like, growing up in Mexico, I had this uncle that would go to his house, and every time I'd leave, it'd be like, you know, dark.
Yeah.
And I was like 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, are you sure you're going to leave now? Because La Llorona
Ah!
is going to get you in the, 300 yards.
She's gonna drown your ass.
Door,
Yep.
like, because I saw her there last night.
I saw her.
And this is a grown-ass man telling
Yeah.
like a 5-year-old, like,
that.
but La Llorona is going
Llorona.
to get you. So every fucking night, this would happen every night. And I'd be like, I would close my eyes and be like, no, and just fucking take off because
You don't want me.
because you know that it's true. And
Yeah.
to this day, when I go home, when I go back, like there's always a story of like, oh, we saw your dad, or we saw your uncle, or like, oh, there's this like carriage that comes out at night, and
Yeah.
you can hear it.
The whole carriage.
Nobody doubts, and
Yeah.
everyone has a story of like seeing these people. And again, no one bats
Yeah.
an eye. No
Yeah.
one is really scared. Everyone, we just learn to live with it.
Kind of
you know?
these ghosts of our past that are just always surrounding us.
Yeah, and we feel loved and protected.
I'm
'cause
also
they never
getting,
really leave.
I mean, I'm getting to the point where I'm getting older of kind of the theme of ghosts of our past, that when you start finding out stuff about family members that you had no idea, that you
Like the
went,
shady
you,
shit that we're
you went
doing?
Yeah.
through your entire childhood and young adulthood not knowing, and then you kind of find out backstories of
yeah.
all these people in your life.
yeah,
It's like, it's so like, I guess, is that just a part of like growing up now?
yeah. I mean, you,
Kind
and
of
you find
becoming an
out that
adult.
They're human.
Yes, they're
And you
human,
see it,
yeah.
and you see it happen to all of these characters in
Yeah.
the movie.
when you first
Yep.
learn that your parents are just people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it helps us to be, I feel like, a little bit more gentle on ourselves and give ourselves grace for the
Yes.
stupid shit we do.
Yeah.
And then, so here, see all the women.
Oh
Just
my
like,
gosh! No,
not
when
a
she
man in
says,
sight.
and your mother came and she knocked on my window, and like I went over and the door was unlocked and she was there, and
she
all the
called-
women
I
are
know
just.
she called me and told me that she was dead, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we saw her."
So okay, so at the very beginning of the movie, when we first see them cleaning off the gravestones, and they go, and Augustina comes to the cemetery to clean off her own gravestone that she
Yes.
purchased in advance.
Yeah.
And she's got to keep it clean because the wind, and the wind brings all the branches, so all, whatever. So she looks and she says hi to Raimunda, she says hi to Sole. And she says, is this Paula? Is this your daughter? She says, yes, this is my daughter. She says, oh, she looks just like your husband. Yes, he says. She grabs Paula and kisses her on both cheeks.
Yeah.
And this girl that she's just like, oh, is this your daughter? I haven't seen. So clearly she hasn't seen her in years. And she just grabs her and kisses her.
that's-
And I told Scott, I said, you didn't grow up having to kiss
No.
every
No, we
single
kiss.
relative at every event.
I'm
that
somebody.
You went
I'm
to.
somebody that kind of recoils when I have to like hug every single
Yeah,
family
and he
member
goes,
when
"No,
you
I
have
didn't
to
have
leave
to do
something."
that." And I was
Yeah.
like, "No, bitch! Every party,
No, everyone.
you got to
It-
say the rounds to say hi
Yeah.
and to leave. Irish goodbye does
No,
not.
it takes
exist.
like 2 hours to go through all the family.
Yeah.
Like when you get there and when you leave. And
That-
even if you haven't met, I just remember like kissing like my uncles and then it'd be so greasy.
their face.
Yeah, and I was like, and
yeah.
I always had to wipe it, and then
Yeah.
my mom would like pinch me. Don't wipe your face.
Yeah.
I said, but it's disgusting.
But it's
We don't have
oily.
to kiss all these fucking
Yeah.
people.
that I don't even know.
But
Yeah.
that's the culture. Like we're warm and and now I try not to do it to my children.
Sure. Yeah.
Only like people that I know
Right,
that
right,
like
right.
my close
Yeah.
friends. But even now, like I ask them, like, do you want to hug?
Yeah.
Do you want to give them a hug or a kiss so they have like autonomy in their bodies?
Yeah,
but like, because
yeah.
we never had that shit.
No.
They pick you up and throw you up in the air. I mean, I've
Yeah,
always
yeah.
been like 2 inches fucking tall,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they just like grab me and throw me in the air. Yeah,
no,
it's
I was
awful.
a very cute child.
Oh,
so
what
I don't know what happened.
Just gotta kiss those little cheeks.
But I was a very cute child. So I remember there were certain relatives. Okay, so the other thing is that my mother is very younger than her siblings. So her cousins were older. And so like they would be my mom's cousins, but
Yeah.
to me they
They're
were
like your tios. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right. So she would have cousins that would, and I remember there were specific ones that I would be like, I don't like that one, because she would always be like, and grab my face and both cheeks in her two hands, and then
And
just
squeeze your heart.
I'm just like, ugh. There were always the ones that I did not like to see. It'd be
They'd
like,
have the
"Not
lipstick
Martha,
all over
not
your face."
Martha." Yeah, because I would just always want to kiss me on the cheeks, and it's just a thing, and that's it's the joke that like Mexican birthday parties for little kids, it'll be for the 3-year-old for Mijo, but the party goes on till 2 a.m.
Well, I told
It's
you,
because
like,
it takes you hours
we
to
had a
leave.
small party of like 65
Yeah,
over
you
the
said
weekend.
60 people.
I was like, oh, it's very small. It was only like 60 people.
Was it in your backyard?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had like over 100 people in that
sure.
backyard. So it's,
I've gotten my face painted in your
yeah,
backyard.
yes,
Yep.
you missed it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We had a face painter and we had the taco man and very intimate party of 65
60.
people.
Yeah,
you know,
I was
like
gonna say, and we weren't invited.
I'm.
But then you said
But
intimate,
I brought you
intimate party.
Intimate.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
very.
Yeah.
It's just
Yep.
the closest of which you guys are. But you know, I brought you half of a
I mean, we
fucking
got
very true.
cater.
Yep.
We got enough pastor to last us.
There you go. So yeah, no, but I mean, just it's funny how like cultures, even though this is Europe, it's still
Right,
very
right.
much, you know, Latin.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
culture, very
Well,
very much.
things like that, like the kissing. There are certain things in these movies, these Spanish movies, that I'll look at and I'll be like, okay, I can see this crossover. Like Scott was
Yeah.
saying, you know, there's the moment where she sings the song later on, which
She lip syncs for her life.
well,
Sante,
But she does it
Shante,
really
you
well.
stay. I love
But
that.
she did bring me to tears. 'cause
No,
she
yeah,
puts
it's a
all
moment.
of it in it.
but it's
yeah.
that, and she does lip sync very well.
And the mom watching her from the car.
And we find out that the mom taught her the song and all that.
Yeah.
But it's this thing where,
Well, I guess at this point, like we find out the mom's alive.
right? Well, I still didn't know.
Oh.
Well, I mean,
I was
You
gagged
still
until the very.
thought it was-
Okay.
she's okay.
She's in a trunk.
We gotta
of a
talk.
car.
But we gotta
but
talk
here,
about.
okay, let's get into the mom.
So before that, I just wanted to talk about the fact that they're at this party. All this stuff's happening. There's booze flowing, and there's food everywhere, and it's this huge party.
But she's
And
working. It's the rap party
She's on the
for
job.
the crew. Yeah.
Right. But these men are there with their guitars, and they're playing their guitars, and it's this thing where she's just like, "Oh, look, there's music," and I don't know, just something about like Spain is in Europe, and they're surrounded by all these white people.
We're still gonna bring a guitar, and we're still gonna sing.
You know what I mean? It was just that thing where it was just like, yeah, man, fuck, yeah. They're just like, yeah,
Music
there's.
is so central
Yeah.
to our culture.
So it's just so interesting that just that bit of it's, I don't know. It started there, whatever, but it's just like, yeah, that tracks. Okay, there's somebody playing a guitar, so someone is going to sing.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody's going to sing.
But they had
If it
said
wasn't her, it was
earlier,
gonna be somebody
like
else.
when she went to visit, they said,
Right.
"Oh, she used to sing before,
And
she
she wanted to
haven't
put her
sung
in
years."
children.
I also,
Children talent
that whole
shows and all
backstory of this kind of missed potential of her being. I mean, she could have been a huge pop star. Like we don't know.
Yeah.
Like if
And-
she would have had like
Right.
the kind of the support and finances.
Yeah.
Like she could have been a big deal.
Well, and
Too.
and that's what happens with Agustina's sister, right? She
Yeah, she
left
made it.
to
Yeah, she made it
go
big in
become-
Madrid as
right,
a
right.
TV something.
So Sole goes back
to the funeral.
to the funeral.
Tia's
That's why she's
funeral.
there. She's at the
Yeah.
funeral for Tia Paula, and that's where she.
And she's like deadly afraid of ghosts.
Right. That's just her personal thing.
Yeah,
She's
she-
afraid of ghosts. She doesn't like dead people. She's just like, I don't even want to go.
Which is ironic in a town
I
full
mean,
of
yeah,
dead people.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hate dead people.
Yeah. But, at this point, Raimunda can't go because she's got her own shit to worry
Yeah,
about.
she's
She got a
working
body.
one of her jobs.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when we're introduced to the actress Carmen Maura, who she's had a past with Pedro Almodóvar because
Yes.
she hadn't worked with him since Women on a Verge of a Nervous Breakdown.
And this is the mother.
And
Right.
I think that this actress had been with Pedro since the very early years.
That's
of
what I
his
love
career.
about him.
Too.
That he finds his muses and
He finds his
goes
muses.
with
Yeah.
them in every movie.
But
and-
Carmen hadn't worked with him since the 80s.
Right. So
and
it
there
was,
was a lot of press speculation that they had this big falling out. I think both Carmen and Pedro have been very, they haven't really given a lot with kind of their relationship.
Yeah.
They hadn't talked
And
about it.
what had happened. But she's in this movie, and she is Irene. She is the mother of Penelope Cruz and Lola Dueñas, right?
Dueñas.
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 like an owner.
So she finds her in the back of this car. So there, I did see this movie. I did see this movie when it came out. I rented it. just because, I mean, it was such a big deal for Penelope at the time that I watched it, but there were a lot of plot points that I did not remember about this movie. I knew that the mother comes back, that I kind of misremember the character always being a ghost because they led that.
Because you don't
they
know
led that in the
if
press,
it's a ghost
and
or
you
not.
don't know if it's a ghost
And
or
when
not.
you first see her,
Yep.
she has this white hair because it's been a few years.
And the way she just sort of stands there. She doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
And it makes total sense when you revisit this movie and you find out the backstory that I had not remembered. So it was kind of a surprise when I was doing my revisit of it.
Me
and I was
too.
just thinking, like, a ghost that just has to travel in the back of a car.
I said, why does she have to be in the car, in the trunk of the car?
Can't she just like disapparate?
She can't teleport herself.
Oh, yeah. And then you kind of find out more of the story.
She said, unlock
and
the
trunk.
trunk.
And it all comes together.
She said, unlock
but
the
I
trunk,
love
I'm
that.
in here.
Unlock the trunk, I'm in here. Yep. Mhm. And it's like, for this character, for the sister, could you fucking imagine?
No.
Could you imagine going through this
No.
and finding your dead mother in the back of the car?
Just seeing my mom alive
And you
showing
just
up at my
have to-
fucking door.
And you just
I'm
kind of have to
dying.
go with
What?
it. Of just, all right, so you're just going to stay in my spare room. You're going to help me with all of my clients in the morning because
But I think for a
yep.
while she still thinks that she's a ghost
Right.
and she's just really seeing this
But
ghost.
but for me, like revisiting this movie, I kind of always thought of this character as a ghost because it introduces that kind of tone in the movie that magical realism is on the table.
Yeah.
So this can happen. And
But
like
then she
I
dyes
love
her.
that.
She dyes her hair. So I was
I
just
think
like
that's
this.
when that's when you know, like, no, she's
Sure.
Because I was like
she's actually
in
back
my
and
notes,
they're
I was
not.
like, this ghost is so physical. She's here.
Yeah.
She needs to drive in the car and get her hair dyed.
But is that? But also,
But
if
I'm
like,
still going on
but
like,
if your cha-cha grandma came back to either one of you two, she'd
she's
be
gonna
like,
want her hair dyed.
Oh, she's
gonna want her hair dyed.
Her
Yep.
lipstick and her, they're gonna want all the things, all the things.
But just kind of one of those moments when I was revisiting this movie, just kind of pretty much seeing it with new eyes. Just kind of
me too. I'm
along
telling
for
you,
the
like,
ride.
seeing this again and seeing it from a perspective of like a mother trying to do like her best, trying to survive, and the support of the women, and just doing just whatever it takes, even if it takes to like hide a body in a fridge and like drive it 400 miles away. She just goes and I don't know, like it's so relatable as a woman and as a mother, like all of the things that she's doing to ensure that her daughter is okay.
One thing that I can appreciate of how this movie is structured is that disposing with the body never becomes the movie.
Okay, so
it's in there as a subplot, but I like that it never takes over.
So this was my next point
of the movie.
What's the Tilda Swinton movie?
The Deep End?
Is it The Deep End?
The Deep End with the gay son.
Ezra?
No, it's The Deep End is with from Charlie's Angels. But yeah, the son murders somebody
there's
and
a movie with
and she
Tilda
covers
Swinton.
up the murder and she drops him in
So I
Lake Tahoe.
immediately
Yeah.
started thinking of that when she was like, I did this.
Great movie.
But the thing about The Deep End is that movie becomes this
about that
procedural
Just like,
of the cops are here now and how do we cover it up and
And I like that the story never goes there.
Right.
No, but you know what I love? That she shows up at at her neighbor's house and she's like, I'm going to pay for the night. And this woman is a woman of the night, a prostitute, and they're friends. And she's like, she needs to make money. She's like, I didn't know you like that, but all right.
I think that they use the word muff dive,
Yeah,
which
muff
I love.
dive, yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
She's like, I didn't know you were into muff diving, but hey, if you're going to pay, you're going to pay.
Yeah.
Like,
So it's
a job is a
interesting with
job.
that character too, because when she tells her what we're doing, and she's like, okay, bitch, I don't know about all that.
She's like, fuck.
Maybe just take me back. And she's like, no, like I'm going to pay you, blah, blah, blah. But then when the woman says like, I got my own problems.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
I'm already involved,
Don't
but I don't
tell
want to
me.
know.
She still helps her though.
Right. And she does still help
Yep.
her.
Because again, she's in that same situation where
Right.
they're all trying to survive.
Yeah.
They're all trying to like watch each other's
But it was
back.
interesting that woman says, I don't have papers.
She's probably
Where's she from?
She's probably from like
Portugal?
South America or somewhere.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
she speaks perfect Spanish.
Okay.
But she doesn't have a thick accent. I was trying to pick up the accent.
Yeah.
I'm awful at accents.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I couldn't figure out where she was from.
Okay.
But again, and what I found very
South America,
interesting.
that makes sense,
It's probably
yeah.
so
Yeah.
because there's a lot of South Americans over there without
Okay.
documents.
Immigrate.
And she doesn't ask her for money. She
Right.
says, "Give me work."
Yeah.
Right.
Give me work at your restaurant. Like in the next month,
Yes.
all the drinks.
Yes.
Like I
I'll
will take
work-
care of
yeah.
that, and I'll work, and I'll.
Yeah.
She's not like, oh, bitch, I got you.
Yeah, no,
like,
she's like, I'm gonna bartend.
Yeah,
She's not just
no,
like, give me
me
$10,000.
work.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that
Yeah.
shows again. Like I feel like over and over again, he shows like how women, when like we can and will support each other.
Right.
Like when. I mean, now I feel like we see it more nowadays, but back in the day, you know, we've always been like pitted against each other
Right,
and
yeah,
programmed to
absolutely.
be like competition and not, like if she's doing well, that means you're not doing well. So to show that back then, that all the women are sort of holding each other up.
Yeah.
No questions asked, really. She's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Don't pay me, just give me work.
Right.
To survive.
Yeah.
And we'll help each other.
Yeah,
Which
totally.
I thought was so great.
Yeah.
And again, when she buries the body, like this is where I'm saying, like we don't have like a whole story on Paco except the one, or Pablo. Is it Paco?
It's Paco, I think. Yeah.
She like marks the tree, like
Yeah.
because she's not like angry at him.
She
like,
still makes
Right.
like some sort of a
Yeah.
burial site for him.
yeah, like she's still respecting like you know the dead, which I would burn him.
Yeah.
Make sure nobody ever finds him, grind him and burn him and put him into the air somewhere.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no one will ever find you. I'm not marking no fucking tree to come visit you. Like,
Yeah.
No, it's like it's crazy how she's still honoring
Right.
him in a way.
This never turns into like Earl from
Revenge.
from the Dixie Chicks.
Poor Earl.
Yeah.
Earl had to die.
Because Earl had to die. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like when the sister, when Sola kind of puts their mother, the ghost mother, to
Who's Russian now? She turns her into a Russian immigrant.
But also
Because,
me,
of
but
course
also
she's
me
not
as a viewer
Chinese.
that I had fully watched this movie. So back somewhere in my memory of watching this movie, I knew the actual story, but I was still going with it. Of like, all right, Ghost Mom's like
Now-
helping her
yeah,
out
now Ghost Mom is-
as your mom would.
now ghost mom can wash hair.
Yep, and like as your mom would if she came back to
Yeah,
visit you. Like
yeah.
she would help you out.
Yeah.
No, my mom would not shut the fuck up. She would not. She would not. She would tell all my business to all the hair ladies. She'd be like, did you know she thinks I'm dead? I'm alive. I'm supposed to be Russian.
What kind of ghost needs to get in the trunk of the car?
Yeah, I know.
This
She,
fool.
she thinks I'm dead, and the other one doesn't know. My mom would not. She would tell all my business for sure.
So I posted the meme. There's memes about the Mexican mothers when you like tell them the secret,
oh,
and then they show them on the news the next day.
that is my mother.
My mom got a little offended when I.
They always do. They're always like, "What?
I don't tell you guys the
Me?
secrets.
How dare you? I would never." And then here's my tia calling me, "Oh, your mom said."
My mom. Okay, so my mom don't tell her secrets to the rest of the family. She'll tell them just to us.
To the
To the
siblings.
siblings.
And the best friend.
Oh, always the best friend.
Yeah.
Oh well, yeah.
Oh, my best friends know everything about all of you too.
And well,
Not
we
at
know
all.
everything about our mom's best friend's family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we know
there you
everything. There's no secrets. There are no secrets in the Latin community. Let me tell you, everybody knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
You a hoe.
So the fact that Irene is so very kind of closed mouth with everything is the least the most hard to believe.
I know, but they're so bad at it. They're so
Yeah,
bad 'cause
that's
the mom,
true,
like
that's
she's
true.
in the house and the mom's like farting.
So that's what. So
Hiding
that's,
under the bed.
so that's what it means.
then I said,
that,
"Why is this ghost
so
so
that's
hide
what it
under the
means
bed?"
that the real secrets that they don't know. Oh, they must be good then.
Yeah.
Of the real stuff that you don't know.
Right.
In
Then
this
those
family.
that's heavy
Yep.
shit. That's heavy shit.
Yeah.
That's what we don't. Yeah, that's
Yep.
where nobody talks about that
Yeah.
stuff. And then I don't know, trigger warning for
Right.
all this stuff. But
Right.
it's heavy stuff that like no one talked about. They just in the movie at first. at the beginning, she's like, "Oh, mother just really loved dad. Like she lived for him.
They died
she
in each other's
adored him.
arms.
Yeah, they died happy, and that's all she could see was him. And she always like makes this like comments about her mom being so blinded by her dad, like she couldn't see anything else. And then we find out why.
And then you meet the character of Augustina. Of that, she's like, I have some questions. And kind of you as a viewer, you're thinking like, I don't really know where this subplot is going.
Oh, that her mom
and then you start to kind of...
Well, you kind of figure out that
figure it all out.
Augustina's mom is having an affair with their dad because she's just like...
And she went missing...
Interesting.
And she went missing the day
Isn't
that they
it
died.
interesting that the night that your parents died in the fire, my mother is gone?
I didn't catch that till like way after.
Okay.
And she's telling her that if you see your mother... Ask her these questions.
The ghost of your mother.
The ghost of your mother.
Next time you see your mother's ghost, we got some questions. That need to be
she's
answered.
like, she has. I've been waiting for her. She won't come to me because I have all these questions. She goes to
left
everyone.
The village, fool.
Yeah. She's
She
like,
don't live there no
I want to know where her mother is, who's a hippie. And
her hippie mother. Oh,
I know, smoking pot and wearing all the colorful jewelry.
Yeah.
But that's just a woman living out loud
right.
in a place that's probably not allowed. You know, like all the women are boring and unhappy and cleaning their tubes,
the shot of these shoes. The shot of these shoes. I mean, we were talking earlier about the styling of Penelope. These shoes.
Oh, her espadrilles.
These espadrilles. So fierce.
Well, I mean, that's... Oh, she's still wearing black?
You can kind of see the little pad, the little butt pad. Just a little. It's just a little booty. It's a little boop. There they go. They're the espadrilles with little like wraparound ribbons.
Which I hate those kind of shoes. Those and clogs. You would never see me in that.
Okay, good to know.
Not, what is it? Not a toot? A boot?
A boot.
It's a boot.
It's a boot.
It's
you know,
boot.
speaking of Drag Race, do you watch Drag Race Spain?
I don't. I
So
can't.
It's wild.
You should
It's wild.
watch some episodes of Drag Race Spain. Maybe we'll try to watch them with you.
Okay.
But we were kind of gooped with the last season that when we were watching it, I mean,
they said
Drag Race Spain is like a whole bag of crazy that you need to see because there's so much being thrown at you on screen that you don't really know
we as
how to
Americans
process it.
don't really,
like
it's
we as
hard.
Americans, like
Yeah.
it's so overwhelming to watch as
I didn't
American.
watch it.
But
so the thing was, we were watching, and they said next week on Drag Race España, and they show the judges, and we said, "Oh, bitch, they got Penelope Cruz judges shit." What the fuck?
And
so
Pedro
we're so
Almodóvar
excited.
has done the show too.
And
Yep.
So, who? Selma?
Pedro.
Oh,
Pedro.
Pedro Almodóvar?
Yeah, he
Oh.
did the show.
Yep.
Well, he loves... I mean, he's
They had a
So-
Almodóvar runway.
So
Yep.
yeah, and they were all the like fabulous women from the movies, and it's a great
have to see
episode.
this.
So then we said, "Oh shit, Penelope's going to be on. Let's watch." So we wait. We watch the episode. It's her sister.
Oh,
I remember.
It's her sister,
who
who looked exactly like her.
beautiful. Like, who
So
makes those
beautiful.
beautiful children like two in a row?
But yeah,
usually it's like
they,
one good-looking
the
girl
editors,
in the family.
The editors at WoW were trying to goop an entire nation, thinking that Penelope Cruz was a guest judge on Drag Race, but it's her sister.
Yeah,
But I don't see why she wouldn't. Pedro did it.
right. Yeah,
Just
she
to
could
go
go
for
on.
it.
She could
And
go on.
She's
but
great.
and then what we came to find out that her sister is kind of a
we didn't realize that
she's
the
a
sister
celebrity
was
in
a big-
Spain.
She's
like a I don't know. She does something on TV.
Okay,
She's not like
yeah.
a
So she's a
like
personality.
A TV personality.
A
There we go.
personality,
She's not like an actress.
She's like a
or
Mario
anything.
Lopez.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
But
so-
yeah, Drag Race España it's fun.
gotta watch it.
It's wild.
I
It's
don't
like
know,
You're
a very
watching
different
you're watching
sensibility.
cuckoo foreign TV.
You're gonna have to
Very,
lend me your
Oh yeah, we have our
login
Yeah,
because
sure.
you know
We'll pass it around, listeners.
Let's
get
pass it
Get a
around.
pen out.
we're gonna do it right here, right now.
now.
Everyone's gonna watch it.
On our Wow Presents Plus.
Let's see. Oh, like now she's really getting ready. See, now
I
she's really
mean-
putting makeup on.
I
She
mean,
has
look at those.
the tits out, the hair back.
Yeah.
Like, but again, I feel like she doesn't know how beautiful she is. She doesn't.
Right, yeah,
she's
right.
not operating on like sex appeal. It's just like natural to her. She's just like being herself. It's
Yeah,
not something that she's like trying to like capitalize on.
So
or
the mother
I see-
later,
yeah, I see
the
that.
mother later in the movie is watching a Italian movie on TV called Bellissima, starring Anna Magani. And Anna Magani was nominated for an Oscar. So she was a big deal in Italy, and she kind of had brief American crossover. And I noticed in the movie that they kind of style Penelope like her too. So I think that's kind of like a little film nod of how they style her.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it definitely very Italian, like the way they style her hair, like her hair and the makeup and all that.
This is the actress who.
Bellissima film.
Like I think this is when she's
Magnani.
She's
If it's
asking
Italian.
sort of
Magnani,
questions
yep.
about like
Right.
grandpa, and like she's just like, no, not right now.
Oh, Anna Magnani won an Academy Award too.
Oh, work. Mm-hmm. Bellissima, the movie that the grandmother's watching, is from 1951.
She won. That actress won for the rose tattoo. I forgot about that.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I see a lot of the styling of that actress in Penelope in this movie.
Sure. Yeah, but that scene where the daughter Paula is
asking like, "Who's my dad?"
Yeah, because she kind of she at this point she still thinks that Paco is her father, and she's like, he told me I'm not your father, so this is okay.
It's okay, yeah. Like
but even if he wasn't, it's still not okay, obviously. But so she's finally asking, her mother, like, well, who is he?
Who is my dad? And she's
what
like,
what did she tell her?
She's like, I can't tell you.
I
can't tell you right now.
Yeah.
Which I have forgotten like what happened until she has her conversation with her mother.
Right.
Like I didn't. Like I was like,
that was what I thought that I spoiled for you, because I knew that's not her dad, and you find out through the movie.
Right.
Well,
I kind of figured, that's not her real father. But then when you find out, you're just like, oh my goodness.
But again, like you were saying, these kind of secrets, nothing is ever really said out loud until she sits down with her mother. Everything's kind of like a whisper here and there. Right. Oh, you have your grandfather's eyes. And like, oh, my mother was so blinded by my father. Mm-hmm. And like, oh, you were so angry at us. You just left and never came back. Like no one really is actually addressing these big things, and it's it's very much like that, because it's so they don't teach us how to talk to each other in the real way.
I mean,
like we're not
okay. So I do have to give it up to the young children these days, because they're kind of addressing this shit.
They want to talk about everything.
For so long, our families kind of
they want to go into the trauma.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked so much through this episode about how our culture is just like, yes, a ghost, of course. But then when you're just like, I feel like I have anxiety and may have depression, and I feel like I should maybe see a therapist.
Go wash some dishes.
That's when your family says therapist.
What did your Nana Maggie always say, like her nerves?
Oh, well, I mean, she just needed a beer for her nerves.
But like anxiety of just like it's just my nerves.
It was just she was just nervous. She didn't. It was not. I mean, you want to get into alcoholism.
You want to get into family trauma,
and all
this
the real
is the
family
podcast
trauma.
for it.
But that's the underlying thing.
Yeah.
Trauma and generational issues and real mental
we don't
issues
we don't talk about
or even want to believe that those things are can affect you or happen to people.
Yeah, like the mom was saying, like she's like, I can't believe I didn't see it. Mm-hmm. So I mean, basically the Penelope Cruz's character, her daughter is a product of like abuse, from her dad.
Right.
And that's, she left their pueblo, and because the mom never did anything about it. And I guess the mom said she didn't know.
Yeah.
She's like, I can't.
I
when I
knew
found
why
out,
you
I was
hated
so
me.
angry.
Yeah.
I didn't know why you were so angry.
And is she holding on to all of this guilt because she never knew?
She never knew. Yeah. But it's, how do you not?
Yeah.
No,
that's how do you look the other way?
It is hard as a mom.
Yeah.
As a daughter, as a mom, as a woman, it's like, how do you not know when you're in the same house and as a child, like to look at your mother and your mother isn't there for you,
not seeing it, not addressing it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, your whole ass pregnancy, and the child looks just like your father, and like you still don't know.
Yeah.
So I can see why, now like the anger that Penelope, like that her Agustina, what is it? Raimunda,
yeah.
The anger that Raimunda has, and the fierce love that she has for her daughter, and like all that she does. You see the root of it.
Right.
I saw the root of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly what you do. You flip the tape and you do exactly the opposite of like what they did to you.
Right.
You just like you change the narrative and you're like, no, I'm going to do everything I can. If it takes to cover up a murder and take the blame, I will do that. And that's what she's doing here. And I don't think she's ever like sitting down. She's always working or singing or cleaning or cooking or hiding a murder.
She never has a moment.
You never see Penelope Cruz in this movie kind of have a quiet moment to herself.
No,
she's always doing something.
Overdoing. She's always just like doing the most. Hiding bodies. Right now she's like singing for her life. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's very, and again, that's just that Latin culture overlap of these issues that we have as families that you're just like, hey, I may be going through something, and just to even come up with the courage to tell your family, like, I'm experiencing something and I don't know what to do with it, or I want to get help.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, you want to get help? Go clean the kitchen.
Yeah, go clean the kitchen. Go wash the dishes. You're just bored.
Yeah.
You're just bored like that. What are you talking about? Depression? Well, because that's how they were programmed. They're not allowed to have those kind of feelings.
Yeah.
We're allowed to have anger. We're allowed to have, we're allowed to be happy, believe in dead ghost people.
Yeah.
But anything that's painful, we just haven't. Learned how to address those
things like things as simple as like you said, having a moment of just I'm just gonna sit down and I'm just gonna like look at my phone, or I'm gonna read a magazine or whatever. Like our grandparents never had the luxury of a moment to themselves.
Yeah.
So that is lazy.
Yeah.
That is go clean the kitchen.
Yeah.
Go clean the bathroom.
Yeah, occupy your
floor.
mind with something else other than like your sorrows and your or go drinking.
Right, sure.
We were okay with that.
When they did have a moment, they had a beer.
It's like
I think now we're in an era when it's like some of our jobs allow us to have these moments of like I got shit to do right now.
Yeah.
Thankfully, knock on wood, some people do. Other people may not have that luxury, and that's fine, and that's a thing also. But some people do have these moments where it's just like, I am going to just sit down and have a little treat. I do
Without
deserve
guilt,
a little treat. You know what I mean?
I deserve a little treat.
I deserve a little something.
Yeah, it's not like you're seeing Penelope Cruz do like Starbucks runs in this movie.
No. But you know what just occurred to me that when oh my goodness, what is the name of the woman that her mom died in the fire?
That's Agustina's mother. Yeah.
She spends the whole movie trying to talk to Raimunda and her sister about like what really happened, and there's more.
Let's talk this out.
And they don't want to.
And they don't want to talk about it.
And they're like, and she even goes on TV because she's like desperate to find out what happened to her mother.
I love the talk show in this movie,
so
which also seems very Pedro.
Oh.
Is that kind of at the center of this movie and all of the action is this like Sally Jesse Raphael talk show that one of the characters kind of somehow ends up on.
Yeah.
How did she get on this talk show? I don't really know.
Her sister.
Yeah. The sister's there behind the scenes waiting to come out and confront her.
Yeah.
But she doesn't get a chance.
And she's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't, she's trying to find the truth. And these, Penelope and her sister are like, no.
Yeah.
This is what happened. They died happily. We don't know about your hippie mother. We don't want to know. We don't want to talk about it. So even though Penelope went through something really traumatic, she's still kind of continuing that whole thing because she's still, we deal with all this shit head on, but all the trauma and the heavy stuff, we don't process that. We like bury it really, really, really deep. And I feel like we are kind of lucky that in this time, more of those things are coming out and we're able to say things. Even if our parents, like, don't remember the way that we remember.
That's the other thing is
You always remember the bad times.
It's always like
I always hear that. I always hear that
was
from your
not
mom.
like that
you,
at
you always,
all.
you always remember the bad times
But you know,
from my mom.
from your mom.
My mom always
as
says
a parent to two crazy toddlers, as a parent, I have to tell you, like, we do remember things kind of, it's a different perspective
Right,
because
yeah.
it's happening to us.
Yeah.
You know, and as a parent, you're watching your child, like, one, try to kill themselves, you know, throwing themselves off the bed. And they're like, well, you pushed me. And I'm like, no, I caught you. Like, they do
Sure.
remember things. Like, my daughter has this story where, like, she was biting her nails. So I put peppermint oil so she could smell it and not bite her nails.
Sure.
She remembers it as, she touched her eyes and her eyes were burning and she was crying. Core fucking memory. So what this fucking kid remembers now is that I got oil and I rubbed it in her eyes.
You rubbed it in her eyes with your finger.
So she cannot smell and I feel guilty sometimes. She cannot smell anything peppermint because she remembers this, like, in her
When
head.
you poured it in her eyes.
I poured a gallon of fucking peppermint oil into her eyes because I hate her. And I was like, that did not happen this way. So that's when I go back and I'm like,
my God.
okay.
Sure.
As a mom, I'm like, oh shit. So part of it is true.
Amazing story.
It's true. So part of it is true.
I mean,
we don't remember things.
I still bite my
exactly
nails
how
to
they
this
are.
day, so maybe
You should have had the peppermint.
Maybe
I
I
have
should have
some
had
in
the
my
peppermint
purse.
oil.
I have some in my purse.
Should pour it in his eyes before you
Yep.
leave.
And wash your mouth with soap. Little shit. Yeah, but we don't remember fully, like, the whole, you know, because we are children, and the way that we're experiencing life is so much different. You know, our parents are trying, like, please don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like, please, like, stay alive.
Yeah.
And we're just like daredevils. You know, some shit obviously, like, did happen how we remember it, but
Yes,
some of it didn't.
Right.
You know, and as you become, and as I've become a mother, I've become like a woman. Like, just everything just takes another, I don't know, like another point of view.
Right.
That things are not so black and white. Things are not so much how we remember. So I'm open to hear the story that maybe my mom has.
Yeah.
Whereas before I wasn't. It's like, this is how it was. But now that it's happening to me, I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm a little bit more open to hear like other, you know, others. People, she's dying now. What's her name? Agustina.
Yeah, when Agustina, so we kind of finally get this confirmation that, yes, she does have cancer, and it's kind of like, it's advancing.
Yeah, it's terminal.
It's advancing. It's terminal. She's not really, doesn't have a lot of time left. But also, this is when you hear people tell these stories of being in their last days, and that's when they do start and not just Latin people, this is what white people say it too.
Sure.
Like, and I started seeing grandpa, and I started seeing, you know, all the people when they're terminal and they're in their, like, really last days.
Yeah, they're probably, like, at the threshold, you know? Like,
they're at
like
the threshold, and all of these kind of memories of their past are haunting them.
Yeah.
But poor Agustina, she just is just
Wants
like,
to mom. She
what
wants to
the
know what
fuck
happened
She just
happened
wants
my
to find out what
mom?
happened to her mom.
And you two are the only ones who can help me figure this out.
And
because it's connected.
Raimunda's like, nope.
somehow. Yeah, she's just like, oh.
She's like, you're bad shit because you're dying. She literally says that. Like,
and
she's
my
bad
mother's
shit,
dead
crazy.
too. So what else? How else am I going to get an answer?
But I feel like also, you know, Raimunda doesn't, because it involves her dad and involves all that stuff,
Sure.
and she hated her mom
and
so much.
she feels like I've moved on from all of that.
like,
That I don't even want to go back in that headspace anymore.
Exactly. Like, I don't want to unbury. You see my dead mom? That's great.
Yeah.
I don't want.
I was
going
gonna
to
say.
dead
So
mom.
when this dying
Like, I
woman
don't give a
is like,
shit.
"Talk to your dead mother for me," you're just like,
she's like, I'm just gonna fight.
sorry.
When I
then,
see
but
that
then,
bitch, I'm gonna
but then
fight.
Augustine is like, but also real talk. I think people have seen her.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like, she's literally like, the whole village knows
I
your
think that
mother
she's
is
around.
there. Yeah.
Because I've talked to a lot of people that have seen her walking down the street.
So can you talk to her? She's like, nope, she did.
Sorry.
I'm not talking to her.
I gotta go.
But she's, she's dealing with really, really heavy stuff. So I can
Right.
see why, like,
No, it
I
makes sense.
Can't, like, it makes sense that she's like, I ran away so far.
Yeah.
Like to not be around it, and they're dead. So like that frees me from that. I'm done with that story.
Yeah.
Now I have to deal with like my dead husband by my daughter. And now you want me to go and revisit this whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, no, I can't. You're dying anyway. So what do you want to know? Like, shit. Like, I have bigger things to do. You know? Like, I can't deal with this right now. And, you know, it's understandable. But up until this point, we still don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
we still haven't gotten the full
she's
story.
Being like that. Like, because she's so... Everyone helps her, and like she's so loving with everyone else. I mean, she's cranky, but she is like a good person. Yeah. But with Agustina, she's kind of like, you crazy.
You're the last thing I have time for right now.
You're the last thing,
of everything that I got to fit in, you're the last one.
Yeah, like you're dying. That's fine. And like she doesn't want to deal with it, you know. But understandable.
I do love, though, at one point, Raimunda leaves her daughter, Paula, with her sister. And it's just like, you just hang out here or whatever. Yeah. And the sister finds out that the grandmother is there.
Yeah, and she doesn't even quit. She's like, hey, grandma.
Sure. Yeah. She just kind of accepts it.
Yeah, but I love that she kind of is like, oh, okay, this is great. I can...
And we're going to hide it from Mom.
Yeah.
Another secret.
Get under the bed. She's home.
We're always so ready to hide shit. It's so good to hide shit.
Yeah.
It feels so good to hide stuff.
Oh, my God.
Only I know that. It makes you feel special when you're hiding
True.
things.
Sometimes it feels better to let it all come to the light.
No, hide it.
Just keep hiding.
Hide it. Hide the peppermint story. Bury it. Didn't
Stay
exist.
in the closet. No.
Yeah.
But you know, when you find out kind of the last act reveal about the mother Irene of that she pretty much killed him in the house.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she lit it on fire of her husband and
when she found out that
mother
what
when she
happened.
found out that she said that they didn't even wake up pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. Because of the winds.
And
all
everything.
That, it just boom.
And then she's just, her life's over. Like she's dead. Her timeline is gone then. So she's just living as a ghost.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like her penance, you know?
Her penance,
Right.
exactly.
It's a purgatory.
That she has to be,
she is living
she has to live
purgatory.
out the rest of her life as this ghost of herself.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? You know, thinking about it, it's kind of, shitty that, like, the man just died.
Right. Yep.
He didn't pay for what he did.
He didn't have to face...
He died with, his lover.
Well, Irene thinks that they're paying, but I don't know if it really, if it really works out like
she's
that.
The one
she's the one that has to, like, have this atonement and live as this ghost and look after her aunt in the spare room.
Yeah, and see her life before her, and she can't.
Yeah.
That must be horrible.
Yeah.
Something like this has had to happen.
Oh, of course.
I was thinking, like, I kind of buy this. Like, this is something that I kind of buy that I'm sure this has happened.
Well, it's just all the elements are kind of perfectly there for it to fall into place.
Mm-hmm.
The women in this pueblo are just like, okay, we've seen
They
her.
don't question
and
the
they're not
ghosts.
thinking, well, it must just be Irene then. No, she died. She died in the fire. So, and
her
Agustina's
ghost
mother,
is probably like, just coming back to take care of the sister,
right?
And like, because that's what we do,
exactly.
we never rest.
I mean, it's
and
a really
they don't question Agustina's mother going missing because she was a hippie, and she would just leave.
Yep, she would just leave
when things happen. So
she probably just met a man and left.
All of these things, all of these weird elements, just kind of fall into place to form this crazy, like event.
And it's a really fun ride for being kind of a dummy American like me that just kind of is gullible. That you're just along for the ride, so you're fully buying.
I was just like
the mother is a ghost.
She did.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, you do because the way they describe it, she died in the fire and like and other people you see dead people in the town. Like no one is doubting that. Even you as a viewer, you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching. Oh shit, where's this ghost gonna go? So, but just to think that she has to live like that as a ghost and to like pay for something, and it I think my mom or my dad, one of them, used to always tell me, like, you don't pay for your, like, mischiefs. Like, when you die, you pay when you're alive. And that's kind of like
Sure.
what happened with her.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that like she was so, who knows? They never really say what she was so wrapped up in.
Well, for whatever reason, whatever it was, it made her turn her eyes away from what was happening with her husband and her daughter.
And her daughter, yeah. But they never really say like,
was she so wrapped up, so in love with him? I don't know. But for some reason she did.
That's what Penelope thinks.
Right.
Like, oh, she's so in love with him that she would never, you know. And Dad was so in love with my mom that he would never like cheat on her with the neighbor, you know. Right. So like, no, I don't know where your mom is.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So maybe this is why Irene feels like she needs to pay this penance because she let this happen.
Yep.
And I think
house.
she's very fully aware of that. And I think that's what she accepted, like her sort of like her destiny, you know, to sort of live as a ghost.
Yeah.
Because of what she did. But I mean, as a mom, like that's the how do you forgive yourself? You know, for doing something like that to your children? Because I feel like once you become a mother, like I mean, for me, I don't know everyone's experience, right? But like, you know, for me, who my children, I had to fight for so hard, because it didn't come naturally to me. Like I would do so, like no doubt, whatever it takes to protect the children, and protect their happiness, and protect, you know, like their innocence. And, you know, even though my daughter thinks I'm like horrible because I put peppermint in her eyes. Well, you know, whatever it takes to like protect that, you know, the children, you know. Of course. So if it takes, you know, hiding someone's body, and driving it through, you know, 100 miles away and digging a hole and living as a ghost for the rest of my life. Yeah. So then they can have some sort of peace. Right. That's what you do. You know?
We don't really get kind of, because the way the story wraps up is just like, okay, Agustina is dying. She's doesn't have much time left. So I will kind of, she's kind of been denied care. Yeah. Because she has to do these injections and she doesn't want to do it because it's too hard. But she's been kind of denied care, so she's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to figure it out. And so Irene's like, I'll do it. I'll go be the ghost.
She comes to her as a ghost.
I'll come to her as the ghost, and I'll do the injections, and I'll be with her in her final days and take care of her. Because it's the least I could do for what happened to
her mom.
To her mother.
It was her dying wish too.
Right.
Was to see Irene.
Right. Right.
Well, she wanted to ask her. She's like, I've been wanting to talk to you.
So maybe she'll, in those last days, they will confess,
talk it through. Yeah.
And they'll talk it through, whatever. But there's not much time left. So after Agustina does pass, now what?
Sure, I was kind of thinking.
She probably goes ghost hopping.
I was kind of
There's
like,
so many women in that town.
I'm assuming that they're going to.
Well,
are they going to move into Tia Paolo's house?
It seems
they were trying to sell it.
They're trying to sell it.
They were trying to sell it, but it kind of seemed like at the end that Raimunda was kind of like, maybe we'll stay here. I don't know.
Yeah. But I can see like the mom just like house hopping. Yeah. Just like seeing what next lady's senile. And then there's this like
just being the town ghost.
Yes. Sure. The town, it's known for this ghost that like when you're dying,
she'll come and help you out with chores.
And take care of you.
But you just have to give her like a spare room to live in.
Yeah. And you just can't really talk about it. But I don't think the tia, Paula, I don't think she ever was like, oh, your mom was here making food.
Right.
Like, you don't talk about it. It's just like something that, like...
She did. She did? When they were there at the very beginning, and they were like, how the hell are you getting up and down these stairs? Like,
how are you making all this food?
And she was packing to go.
And she was just like, oh, whatever, shut up. And then when they left, she said like, oh, I'll tell your mother. I'll tell your mother that you came. Oh, and they were like, "What the hell?"
She's losing it.
I mean, it's just that crazy shit that old people say that you're like.
So they say she doesn't even know what year it is.
When she sees Raimunda and she sees like, "Oh, you're not pregnant anymore," because last time I saw you,
there you go,
you were pregnant.
Yeah. So she doesn't even. So she doesn't know what day it is.
So she probably just. So she probably just left when she was pregnant, and they never got to see like the baby.
Yeah.
Because then
At
they
least the
died
people in town, yeah.
like 4 years after or something or whatever. So they
Okay.
never really got to see her. Because when Agustina saw the girl, she's like, "Oh, you have your grandfather's
Yeah,
eyes."
because she
It's like they
said
hadn't
like,
seen
"Oh, is this
her.
Paula?" She didn't even know. Yeah,
Yeah, so she probably never went back after
Yeah.
she like left the town. I mean, why
Yeah.
would you?
yeah.
You
mean,
know?
I like to hope that Raimunda gets like her restaurant. Is she going to be able to take over this restaurant? Is the past owner going to be cool with it?
That shit's weird. This guy
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I know I own this restaurant, but I
Take
gotta
my
go.
keys."
So can you
Yeah.
just deal
Yeah.
with it?" What?
Well, I mean, I think that they do probably just go back into the town and
Yeah.
stay there and act. You know, the mom is just like a ghost, but they all live together because
Yeah.
they all ended up in the town.
Yeah.
At the end,
At the end,
you
they
know,
all
like
were
they
together.
were together in the house
Yeah.
and taking care of Raimunda, and they just, you know,
So
quieter life.
one of the things that they didn't understand at the beginning too about the Paula was that how does she can't see anything. She made all the
She was on the bike.
on the bike.
She's like,
and
how is she on the
she
bike?
made him the
Yeah.
little Tupperwares and all that. And she made those donuts, right? And they in
They
the
look like
movie
churros.
they called them. Well, there were some things that looked like
They look like little
they
churros.
look like churros.
Yeah.
But
Oh
there
yeah,
were
but
other
then there was
donuts.
more like
Yeah.
donuts.
And
yeah.
they called them rosquillas.
Las rosquillas.
And I said, "What the hell are those?" And in the subtitles, it said wafers.
Oh yeah, but
Wafers.
Rosca is
Right.
is a donut.
Right, and then
Yeah.
the other.
They
rosca
never know how to
cake.
translate shit.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
Bad Bunny at the Grammys, like sings in foreign language or something. I don't know what they were saying. Like they couldn't even like translate.
Yeah.
You know,
but
to
I was
this
like,
day-
wafer? What the hell? I was like,
No,
rosquilla. I was like,
that's-
yeah, that's like a donut.
That's white people.
And there were just
translating.
donuts eating them.
That's why people translate. For
Yeah,
you.
come on, what's
So,
going on,
come
Scott? Get your shit together.
Get your people together.
I mean, I like to hope that she like runs a restaurant because she kind of seen in her element when she was
Yeah,
making food and
she made one lady made lunch for 30 people.
I mean she worked it out.
Damn.
yeah,
But also she
Not
had
just
help
on-
though.
I
no
can
budget.
do that.
I cannot.
I could do
I need
that
help.
easily.
I need help.
Like we've done at the shelter at the Dolores Mission with my girls. We've done like
Yeah.
food for like 100 people.
But not just you.
No, but it's like 4 of us.
Her friends help, though.
Yeah. But she had the other people. But yeah, no, it's not that bad.
All right.
It's not that bad. I had one taco man in my intimate party
Of 65.
65, and it was a one-man show. Did I
Okay,
help
yeah,
him? I
that's
did
true.
not.
You did not.
I was like,
Why
give me
would you?
Give me 2 more. I'm paying.
And
throw
all
me
the
a
leftovers.
quesadilla. Yes.
Wrap it up.
And he was also the DJ.
No.
Yeah, he was playing all the cumbia.
No.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. He was the entertainment and the food.
You have some Peso Pluma playing?
All cumbia. all the cumbias.
okay.
Yeah, it was the best. Yeah, no, that's what
Also,
we do.
not me being the dummy American that
Oh, no.
I mistook the song that Penelope sings in the movie Volver for being Volver,
Vicente Fernandez.
which are not the same songs.
It's not at all. It's not.
When I was thinking about starting the
I was
episode on it,
confused.
when I was thinking about starting the episode on that song, Volver, I think that Pete mentioned, I don't think those are the lyrics to the song.
Well,
that
you
she's
texted
singing.
me and I thought he was being funny.
Because
was
I
like,
messaged
"Ha-ha,
you
this is
the
cute."
Linda Ronstadt
Yeah,
cover of it.
yeah.
Yep.
And I was like, I didn't even hear it, listen to it, because I was like, he's
Oh, by the way,
joking.
you should listen to it because the minute she starts singing, the people in the audience lose their
damn minds. when she
Lose
starts
their
singing it.
minds.
Like
They're-
laughing?
No, like cheering. They're just like, yeah. They're like
she's singing the
crying.
hits. Yep.
They're like crying because it's Linda, so her voice is so beautiful, and she's singing it, and they're
Oh,
just
I
like,
gotta see
"Fuck
it."
yes, bitch,
Oh, my
sing it."
God.
It's really good.
Yeah.
but a different song.
Oh, not. That's from Mexico. This is like,
yeah.
this
And
is
it's
from
not even
Spain.
that old, right? Like I don't think it's like old.
Volver. I don't know, probably the 70s?
Yeah, I think it's like the 70s. It's not like an old like historic.
No.
classic
But it's like a
burrito,
classic that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
But, Volver. I love that in this movie, like called Volver, everybody comes back. Like nobody stays in a freaking place. Like
Right.
the dead come back.
Yeah.
All the drama comes back. The mother comes back. Like the other mother, you find out that she's dead with her lover. So it's everything just keeps coming back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's what Volver means, right?
Yeah. Just revisiting all this stuff and trying. Is it like a second chance at doing things better? You think?
I guess so. Yeah, I think for the mother, I think for Irene, it's her kind of redemption of just like, I really fucked up,
returning to your past.
I fucked up with my daughter.
I mean, kind of a big theme of this movie is a ghost with unfinished business too. I mean, they even mention that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what business do you have?
Everyone has unfinished business.
Everybody has
absolutely.
unfinished business. Yep.
You know, Raimunda.
Yeah.
Just everyone has, even Paula, like all the trauma. You just kill the person who you thought was your dad.
Right.
So, like, how are you addressing that?
And even to figure out, he wasn't really. That doesn't make
you
it any
killed someone.
better.
Yeah.
You still killed someone, and you still
ease-
think it's your dad.
Yeah. If he did, however deadbeat he was, he still was there to raise you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we see the picture of her as a baby, and and he's there in the photograph, like.
Yeah, that's
so
what I'm saying.
Okay,
like
he's been around.
They didn't give him much of a story except that little snippet, which I guess that's the whole point. But that's what she finds out, that her mom's like alive at the same. This happening at the same time. Like, what is her name? Why can't I remember her name? Poor lady.
Augustina
is like, somebody help me find my mom.
Yeah,
and then she finds her mom. Right. At the same time, hiding under this bed. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, this talk show moment is wild. When you're watching it, you're just like, oh my god. But that's also part of like when we talk about watching Drag Race España and how weird it is. It has this very European sensibility.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Europe, but these exploitative talk shows and.
Well, they don't scare easy.
Yeah.
Not even ghosts. No, but they're just like, you go to Spain and, it's 2:00 in the afternoon and there's like tits on TV.
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's fine. Like they don't scare
in the middle of your 2-hour lunch.
Yeah,
where you
exactly.
Get drunk.
You go and get drunk and you have a nap and then you come out and have dinner at 11 p.m. So, they're tough.
Yeah.
They're thick-skinned people for sure.
Yeah.
They really, really are. Yeah. But I love that he always just the focus of the movies, anyways, that I've seen of him. That this women who are strong but yet very sensitive and yet like trying to make it, and he really, really loves women.
Yes,
and he really honors women, and he really gives them their place and. To like show just all the range of emotions that we have and be okay with it. Just be free with it.
I forget that Almodóvar's next project that he's going to be doing is a movie called The Room Next Door, and it's expected to start in March. I think that it may have even started shooting, but it's going to be his first English language debut.
Ooh. Who's in it? Is it what's
Tilda
his name?
Swinton and Julianne Moore.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah. Did you see the short? That came out with Tilda,
No.
which is, the short is what Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown is based on.
No, I didn't.
But yeah, he did a short with her, and then he did the gay cowboy short with Pedro Pascal and Ethan Hawke.
I didn't see that. Where is that? Netflix?
It is on Netflix.
It is on
actually.
Netflix,
It just got added to something. What the hell is it called? It's called Pearl and Mother. No, Strange Way of Life.
Mm-hmm.
Strange Way of Life just got added to Netflix. It's a short
I gotta
film.
see it.
It's 30 minutes, but it's a Western. And it's a little spicy. It's pretty good.
Gay cowboy love story. It's okay. I would say it's a little flawed.
Yeah.
But it looks beautiful though.
Maybe because it's
looks
centered
beautiful.
on men.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's like, men, I don't know how to do stories about men.
A little flawed. Maybe it doesn't all quite work, but it is very beautiful. Though.
And it's not, what is the name of that guy that he always comes out in his movies too?
Antonio.
Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
It's not Antonio Banderas, it's about men.
He's too old.
He's lost. I don't know what I'm doing.
Did you see Pain and Glory?
Yeah. Yes.
Because that's going to be that's the closest thing to like
like a man movie.
I would say
I
would say
movie.
his most personal movie because
it is about him.
He's pretty much like the main character of the movie.
Yeah, that's No, I did see that one, and I saw Madres Paralelas, but I didn't see the ending of it. No, I didn't see it.
Oh, it's
I just
really
know that they
good.
were like having like
I would say it's
Yeah,
probably
very good.
Penelope's best performance.
Oh my god.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
she's
very
really
good.
good in
We're
it.
doing that one next.
We
Yeah.
should. I mean,
We're
we'll
doing
watch
that
it
one
with you,
next.
too.
All the mothers in Spanish. Like, I'm coming for that.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'll
And
be
you
your
should-
token Spanish person.
Yeah, but you should also watch Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown. It's-
I've seen it. I just don't remember that.
It's a lot of fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking for, in this movie, what's her name? The woman with the big nose that's in his movies.
Oh, sure.
Rossi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he always has the same kind of like Wes Anderson. That they
Yes,
have like the same
yeah.
cast all the time.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if
A
you have a
troupe.
formula, why
Right.
not? You
Yeah,
know,
totally.
like this is when she's telling. This is when she's telling her mom.
that she's here. That the
Yeah.
mother's like
Rossi De Palma.
See the wafers.
Yeah.
Who made the wafers and put them in the Tupperware? But she says
Las
like
donitas.
yeah, donitas.
Las donitas. ¿Quién hizo las donitas?
But just kind of the look on Penelope's face of, oh, shit. Like,
She's like, that bitch was dead.
now I got to deal with this now. Mom's come back.
She's like, wait a minute. What are we saying here?
No.
These
But,
door
you know-
knocker earrings.
Oh, I mean-
that she wears.
It's a serve,
them,
though.
though.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is a serve.
She needs them.
These hoops.
But again, like all the stuff that she's dealing with that she hasn't talked all these years. And now, because at the end of the day, like, doesn't matter, like, that sometimes your own parents are your victimizers. You still love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Like, your mother sometimes is the worst person to you. And it's the one that you, like, just love so much. Like, there's no... You can't hate them.
Or just kind of that
Yeah.
opportunity that when you do lose a loved one or a parent, of that, if you could talk to them again.
Yeah.
Of that, like,
And-
what are
and
you going to say?
Yeah, that second
Yeah.
opportunity,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
that like redemption, like what am I going to say to her?
Yeah.
Am I really going to come out and say what happened?
Yeah.
You know?
When she looks under the bed and is just like, "Oh, Mom, what are you doing down there?" And the mom comes out, and that's when this is an hour and a half into the movie, and I'm sitting here going, "She didn't die.
But she didn't die. Yep.
I see dead people.
You mean to tell me she didn't die?"
You mean to tell me you saw this woman
She was
get her
crystallized.
hair dyed?
She was crystallized.
And
I told you that I was along for
She
the
had-
ride. I just assumed that, like,
She had the frosting cap on.
But the lady that was getting her hair done, it
She
was
washed
like,
the lady's hair.
she's all the Russian.
The
Yep.
Russian
Where's
lady.
the Russian?
She
She's
took off on
gone.
me. She was washing. This ghost was washing people's hair. She got her own hair dyed and cut.
You're brown.
And I said,
You're brown.
"She didn't die.
Yeah, she didn't
She
die.
was alive the whole time.
she was crystallized.
What? She was crystal after a long night of hooking.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that's when you're like, wait, why is she leaving? She hasn't seen her mother.
Right? Yeah.
She's
She said-
like, come back
she
from the
said,
dead.
"Peace, I'm
and
out."
she's like,
Yeah.
I'm gone. I can't
There's-
deal with it.
there's
Because,
some-
yeah, it's all coming,
There's a story there.
Yeah, there's
Carmen
this
Maura
thing,
is so
she's
good in
like-
this movie. Should have been Oscar nominated.
Weren't they all nominated?
Well, no, it
Just,
was,
just Penelope
At-
Cruz
at
got the
Cannes.
nomination.
but it was the can where they. all
But yeah,
were,
but for Cannes
Yeah.
they all got Best Actress. But I think that Carmen should have made it in Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, this is a really great performance of the mother.
I mean, they all did so. Oh, look
Yeah.
at her. But Penelope like really earned it here.
Oh,
Like-
Yeah, I mean, and she lost to Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren was having a real big moment.
It was a moment. It was
in
a time. Yeah.
2006, so she won for the Queen.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned before, I think that my favorite of that category changes on each day of the week, and we have now covered 3 movies of this category.
Yeah.
We could potentially do more because I would like to do a little children episode.
Oh, yeah,
and then Penelope won for Vicky Cristina Barcelona.
Oh, can
Woody
have you
Allen
guys
movie.
done that movie?
We have not.
No.
I mean, I know that Woody
I don't
Allen.
know if we can do Woody Allen.
I know that
Oh, he's
I know Woody Allen is kind of problematic.
persona non grata.
But I do have to say, I
That's one
think
of my
it's-
favorite movies.
I think it's
Yeah.
one of his
Scott loves it.
strongest movies from the 2000s.
I broke up with my
and she's
boyfriend 'cause of
great
that
in it.
movie.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
because I was in this relationship with this boring white man, and I wanted to be Penelope Cruz with like a crazy, brown man, and I got it, and I was like, "What did I do, Jesus? Give me my
Do you know
white
she's
man."
only on screen
my
for like
God.
14 minutes of that movie?
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, she made that
She's
movie.
she is only on screen for maybe 14 minutes,
she
and you
made it.
kind of remember her as this major character of the movie.
That's not 14 minutes. No way. She stole the movie
it's
from
not a lot.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, yeah. No, that movie was just incredible. Penelope was just...
Yeah.
She's incredible.
So we mentioned earlier when when Raimunda first sees the mother under the bed, and she's just like, "Oh shit, what are you doing down there?"
Yeah.
And the mom comes out, but Raimunda leaves. She leaves.
Yeah.
She's just like,
I
"Fuck this!
I
got
can't
shit."
deal with this shit.
But then immediately comes back, and now they're having.
But her
this
daughter
walk.
is like,
Yeah.
"Why are you running away?
Right.
Like, when are you going to confront this?" And she's like, "Right now?"
Now?
She's like, "Yeah, now it's
When
time."
the hell else?
So how healing, that her
Right.
daughter was the bridge to that.
But also earlier in the movie, when they go over to the sister's house, when she goes over to Sola's house, and she's like kind of rude to her, and she's like calling her names and like all this shit. But then she sees her later on, and the sister's like, "Oh, you're back! Like, what are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, whatever. Like, don't even worry about
But
it."
that sister relationship, you get in a fight and you're, come back 10 minutes
Here's the
later
suitcase
and you're
back.
like, good. You're
She's
like,
like, "I just need you to cut my
I'm
hair.
back." Yeah. She's like, okay.
Here's your stuff, and I just want to
That's,
trim."
that's
so,
a true
like,
sibling relationship, Like,
Yeah.
you could fight and then 10 minutes later you're fine.
Yeah, so I think that's just kind of the way that he portrays these women is just very much like these realistic kind of relationships where you're up and you're down and you're hot
and the
cold
older
and-
sister's bossy and the younger one does whatever she wants.
Takes it,
and,
yeah.
and you're like, all right, here's my daughter, watch her. Like, oh, okay.
Seriously.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
yeah, and this is when her mom is just like accepting that she fucked up, like when
Yeah.
she found out. Like,
Yeah,
it's-
when we finally find out the whole story at the end of the movie, it is a big kind of like it's a big revelation, and I was just like, wow, this kind of, I mean, it doesn't
Very
change.
heavy.
It's very heavy,
very heavy because when I forgot about that. You know, my mind like blocked it, and then when I was watching, I was like, that was my moment of like,
Right.
oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Like, this is awful. And then you kind of want to go back to the beginning and like watch her go through this movie carrying that huge burden.
Yeah, that's what it does. It makes you kind of reevaluate what you've seen throughout, and kind of like her. Now you understand her reasoning for treating certain people certain ways, and kind of not wanting to talk about certain things.
Yeah.
So it's this revelation at the end is very like, wow, okay. But it just makes the movie that much more like powerful, and it makes it does make you want to watch it again from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, to observe everything and see like, oh, again, like I didn't catch when, the parents were on the graveyard, their pictures, and the mom was wearing red, which is like when they have blood on their hands, basically,
Right.
which she ends up
Penelope's-
saying that she killed the dad, with the woman in the bed.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we should probably wrap this up. Would you say this is one of your favorite Almodóvar movies?
Oh my God, yes. I think I was like texting you, like, can we please do Volver? Like,
I was
can we
considering
choose?
doing a vote for Volver and All About My Mother, but I think I made the right call of doing
this is so good.
Volver.
No, this is this. All About My Mother is great, but this one has so much going on and so many layers, and so like the women supporting each other, and then the mother and daughter relationship with Penelope and her mom and her daughter, and just so many incredible like layers of things that we can discuss.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you
on
so
our
much,
show.
Sandra. You're a very good friend of ours. I loved your Y Tu Mama Tambien episode,
Yes,
and
lots of fun.
I think we kind of topped it.
I don't know.
I think that we did.
Yeah.
This was
Yep.
fun. This was a really
Okay.
good episode.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for bringing all that food. We're gonna have pastor for
I
days.
know. Well, I'm not leaving. We're gonna watch 3 more movies.
That's right. That's true. I forgot.
So yeah.
We're gonna be
Schedule.
marathoning. We're gonna be marathoning Drag Race Spain.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you seen the Skin I Live In?
No, but that is one of SB's favorites, though, and I have not watched it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys have to see it, and she has to come over and I have to sit in the corner.
Well,
The only
just
thing I
like
know
chime
about
in.
the only thing I know about the Skin I Live In controversial
Very.
of what I know about the subject matter.
Okay.
Yep.
It's
Alright.
very.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
Well, we can't watch it here because SP's allergic to cats, but we will
We'll watch it at our house.
watch it at her house.
Yeah,
There we
and I'll be in
go.
the corner just chiming in. Just be like, toot, boot, in the corner.
I love it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Let's do
This
that.
is great.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming on. Well, we got to figure out something to do next. Maybe it will be the Skinner Living. Who knows?
Ooh.
A double act with you and SB. We'll have all four
That
of us.
That would be fun.
Oh my God.
That would be
Really
really fun.
That would be fun.
We'll
All right.
charge people to listen to that one.
Yes, we have to. Wait, you're not paying me?
Good try.
We're paying you in pastor. Oh, wait.
I brought it.
Oh, wait.
What? This is a trauma I'm talking about.
Sorry about it. Well,
Thank you.
listeners, thanks for sticking around until the very end. Stand by for more. We'll be right back. Listeners, you made it. The very end of another one.
Second Almodóvar movie. I would always love to do more. I would also love to watch more Almodóvar movies that I have not seen. Because there are still a lot of movies of his catalog
This
that
is true. I
have
feel like both of us.
escape me through the years.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, I think you might have seen more than me.
Probably.
Yeah. But we love Almodóvar. We love Sandra.
I'd like to do maybe All About My Mother.
Ooh, that'd be
next.
fun.
That's a really good movie.
Mm-hmm.
The one with Antonio where he's like the crazy boyfriend.
Sure.
We watched that one during the pandemic. It was really good.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, yeah, Almodóvar movies. Pedro, we love it. Yeah, Sandra, our friends over at the Thorny Roses. Check them out on Instagram. We're going to tag them in all of our socials. Sandra's great. So much fun. We love you, lady. Come back anytime you want. But right about now...
Patreon shout out?
Patreon shout
Let's hear 'em.
outs. It's time to say hello and thank you so much to all of our wonderful active patrons, including Amy, Erica, Anna, Mitchie, Christina, our friends at the How Do You Drew podcast, Andy, Kate, Pep, Tammy, Roberto, Daisy, Patrick, Kelly, Chrissy, Stephen, Laura, Thomas, Lori, Brenna, Jessa Rabbit, Lawrence, Lisa, Alexis, Thomas, Millie, Ted, Benny, Melanie, Susan, Shelby, Muffy, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Genevieve, Dawn, Joshua, Aaron, Nick and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino. Thank you for being You guys, thank you so much for being patrons.
Thank you so much. You'll get all sorts of fun stuff signing up for our Patreon. At the $5 level, you'll get the Television That Keeps Us Gay, where we watch an episode of one of our favorite television shows every month to talk about. So we do TV on the Patreon at the $5 level, and at the $10 level, you'll get one of our Watch With Us commentaries.
Yes, indeed. We put on a movie. We record a commentary track as we're watching it, and we give you instructions on how to sync up your copy of the movie with your copy of our audio commentary track. So at the $10 level, you get 2 bonus episodes a month. And the commentary track, you can sync it up with the movie and watch it alongside, or you can just listen to it as a bonus episode, you know, in your car or on your
We try to
walks or
make them
whatever.
work as just kind of a standalone episode.
Yeah. But when you do sync it up with the movie and watch it as a commentary, it's actually really
It's a lot of fun.
It's fun. It's satisfying. So check that out. Patreon.com/movies that made us gay. All of those donations go directly to keeping the show up and running, ad-free, keeping our equipment in working order. So, you know, we're going on 5 years, and some of this equipment is just about that old.
I love that we had to be reminded from some of our favorite listeners that we hit an anniversary that I completely spaced it. That
So
we
did
went, I think that when we're recording this right now, we went at 5 years last month.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about it. I had to be reminded.
Yeah. You know how it goes. We live busy lives, people.
Yep.
But we're here, and you're listening, and thank you so much for sticking around.
Yeah,
this
it means
far.
a lot.
Yes, absolutely. So we would love it if you would rate and review the show anywhere that you listen to your
Give
podcast.
us 5 stars and write us some
Yeah.
kind words.
Yeah, head over to Apple Podcasts and write us a nice review. We'll read it on the air, or just smash 5 stars over on Spotify or Apple. And you can follow our socials. We're at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram. That's where we're most active. Mm-hmm. Any likes, saves, comments, forwards, all that stuff, all that engagement really helps our show to reach a wider audience. So thank you so much for doing all that. And if you want to follow our personals, feel free. I am at Peter Lasagna on Instagram.
And I am Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Yes, indeed. Until next week, everybody, we bid you adieu.
Bye.
Bye.